Hello and welcome to day 6 of the Ray's Room Embroidery Summer Stitch Along. Today we are going to be looking at a little bit of the finer detail and finishing off the bits that we haven't already got some stitches on. So those are shown here in green. So it's getting a bit confusing on this one now because we've got lots of bits and bobs on here apart from day 1, which I felt like needed to be separated out because it got a bit confusing. So what we're looking at today is the green. So this middle circle, the little lines inside of here, some really fine detail with just one strand. And then we're using 2 strands on these petals around here that are shown in green. So that's these ones here. And then this little swirl at the top here, we're going to do as well. We're going to look at doing that today as well. So we've got just 1 strand on these little lines in the middle, and then 2 strands on the petals and the swirls. So I've got here some some thread that's 3 strands together left over from when I was working with 3 strands. So I'm going to separate those out now so that we have a 1 strand for the 1 strand work and a 2 strand piece for the 2 strand work. So I'm going to pop the 2 strands to one side for a moment and just work with this one we're going to look at to start with. And when we go down to such fewer threads, you can at that point, if you want to, move down to a smaller needle. So if you haven't got one, don't worry. If you have, then it might be nice to just have a go at trying working with a smaller needle. The smaller needles can just be useful when you're doing much more kind of detailed, finer, more delicate work. So I'm going to thread my needle for this 1 strand, and I'm going to pop a knot in the end like so. You might want to do a double knot when you're working with 1 strand, otherwise it may just pop straight through. So I'm just going to do that again, so I've got a bit more of a bunch there at the back. And now what I've shown you in green on here actually probably looks a little bit more clear and easier to follow now on your own one, because it's just the bits that don't have any stitches on them that we're going to be looking at. So starting off with this bit in the middle, these little lines here, I'll show you how it looks on my completed one. So you can put as many or as few in as you like. You can just follow the guidelines that you've got, and then if you want to add some more you can, or you can leave it at just the guidelines. So that's how that looks. So we're going to work on here, and it's done just using a straight stitch. So a straight stitch would just be, you know, 1 little stitch from when you were doing the back stitch. So it's worked in the same way, but it's just where you just need 1 stitch. You don't need to keep going back in and out. You're just going to do 1 stitch. So I'm going to start here on my mandala. I've come out here, and then we're going to go back in just here, and that's your straight stitch. So I'm going to go along to the next one and just use my guidelines that I've got already here, and then once I'm done, if I then feel like it could do with going round again and going in between those lines, then you can. That is just entirely up to you, really. I mean, it'll look nice both ways, so just whatever you fancy. Maybe if you're just really enjoying doing it, then you might just want to keep going and add some more in. But as I say, that's totally up to you. So with this one, you just work your way around, coming out there and going in there. And remember that these lines that you've got are all removable with heat at the end, which we're going to look at tomorrow. So if you don't get it exactly on the line, it doesn't matter. If you've still got pen lines showing where you're not planning to put any more stitches, then we're going to get rid of those lines anyway. So don't worry too much about that. So you're just going to work your way around doing straight stitches all around here. like so. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to have a look at the petals and the swirls with you. So with those, I would do them with, I haven't knotted that, but it's just to make sure that your video doesn't run on too long. But I'll go back and secure it afterwards. So now I'm taking my 2 strands, and I'm going to thread my 2 strands onto this needle, put a knot in the end. Doesn't feel very thick, so it might pop through, so I'm going to do another one. Okay, so with our 2 strands and our petals, we're just going to work our way around, starting from the base of one of the petals, and we're going to backstitch like we did before, but this time we're just working with 2 strands, so a little bit finer work. At this point you could make your stitches a little bit smaller and a bit closer together if you wanted to, but so with our backstitch we're just going back. So we're going to come up, as we learned on the first day, stitch length away like this, and then go back in where that one came out of. And then keep working your way around and fill in all of those lines all the way around your petals with backstitch. Like this. And then you're going to carry on all the way around and fill in all of those petals with your back stitches. And I'm just going to skip across now to this swirl and show you, I'm going to do the same on the swirl. So just doing little back stitches, and because you've got quite a curve on this, you'll want to keep your stitches shorter to make it a smooth curve. So nice little small stitches on here will help the curve to go smooth around, so a smooth curve on it. If you do your stitches too long, then it would kind of be a bit of a jagged kind of curl instead of a smooth curl. So that when you get down to smaller detail and smaller curves and arches, you want smaller stitches to help you go around that shape without creating sort of jagged lines. And then the only other thing to mention on these swirls is that if you have a little look on the pattern here, they are set up so that you can do your swirl and then you could do a knot in the middle there. On this one, on my completed one, I chose not to do it because I felt they looked quite nice on their own. But all the, any pattern is adaptable. You can add or take away wherever you want to. So if you wanted to do a little knot just here, like the ones that we did on day 5. So this one and this one are knots. If you wanted to do one of those just there and see how it looks, if you don't like it, you can just take it out and not include it. But if you wanted to include it, that option is there for you. So when I originally drew this pattern, I did intend to have a knot there, but for whatever reason, I think I just liked it as it was, thought it looked quite neat, so I didn't do them on this one. But if you wanted to do that, this is your mandala, so you could add a knot at that point if you wanted to, or you could just leave it where you've got swirls done in little back stitches like this. So that's it for day 6. So you're filling in your detail in all of these green bits or all of these bits that you've got left over, and that's how I would recommend filling them in, and the number of strands I would recommend using. Do whatever feels good for you, and yeah, enjoy. Fill in the rest of your mandala so that there's no stitching left to do, and I'll look forward to seeing you for day 7